Hello and welcome. My name is Jo and I'm going to show you how to draw the tangle Purk. So I move my pen to one side using my pencil. I'm literally just going to draw an orbish shape with my pencil. I'm going to use a Micron 05 in black, and 05 gives a slightly thicker line. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go from side to side and I'm going to create a very soft S shape, an S curve, and I'm going to aura that. And we're going to move down and create some more S curves, just like this. They don't have to be exact, but you want them to be what's called tethered. These auras are tethered, and by that I mean if I did a straight aura I'd start it here, but by tethering it to the end I can make it thinner and then it comes out a little bit wider and then it goes up, and we're just going to add those all the way down. Purk was a tangle that when I first started tangling I thought, oh no, I don't like that. I now absolutely love it. Okay, so we've got those several ribbon shapes. We're going to keeping within that orb. The pencil orb, I'm going to draw an oval orb in the centre, just touching the top of the string line and the tops and bottoms of each of these ribbons. I've been asked several times, why do you keep calling them orbs, not circles? Well, because you can see what I'm drawing now isn't a circle, but it's an orb. And it also does away with that thing of getting it exact. We're not going for exact circles. So you've done those central ones. I'm now going to tuck in orbs behind. And by tucking in, I mean I'm going to start them off like so, so they look like they're tucked behind. So start off on the edge, curve it round and come out. Don't worry about those. If it comes out over the edge of your string, that's absolutely okay. Your string is there as a guide and a guideline, and you can stick with it or you can forget about it, ignore it. Okay, underneath these bits I'm now just going to ink those in like so, and then we're going to do some more. So I'm going to come out to the sides, bump that in and bring it round. Take your time, these are lovely curves. Drawing orbs and curved lines is really relaxing. Just make sure that you watch the end of your pen, taking your time to really focus on the ink coming out of the end of your pen. Now carefully inking in those spaces in between. And we're going to keep doing this, adding the orbs. Slow down your hand movement. Really enjoy the fact that you're adding ink. You can see I took this one out a little bit further, but I haven't taken it right down to the bottom. And this will give I always describe it as a chubbier look to your Purk shape. And any of these tangles you can mix and match with other ones, so they don't have to be just standalone. Purk is a standalone tangle, or you can add it in to whatever Zentangle artwork you're creating at the time. You don't have to plan. Seriously, don't plan. Do this. Choose a tangle, for example, Purk, complete it, and then look and say, well, now I fancy doing whichever tangle you fancy doing. Don't overthink it. You know, the beauty of Zentangle is that you don't have to plan. You don't have to think, oh my goodness, does this go with this, does that? In my experience, pretty much every tangle goes with another one. And the more you overthink it, the more challenging it becomes for you. And I'm going to do another little one. I don't know what that's going to do, but it's gone down there, obviously. And even now, I mean, I've been tangling for about 6.5 years. I've been teaching full time for 4 of those, and was teaching smaller events before that. And I don't think there's ever been a tangle that hasn't gone with another. Yes, there's times when maybe that I go, it's a bit meh. But the big thing is, that's visually, that it's a bit meh. But I always ask myself, did you enjoy the time that you spent just putting ink on paper? The answer is always yes. So it's never time wasted. That is the most important thing for me, is just allowing myself time to sit with my pen. Okay, doesn't that look great already? It's already looking a little bit chubby. In these little bits, I like to do, this is just an additional Zenjo bit, a little bit of rounding. I add a little tiny little bit of ink in a backward curve, as you can see there, just to, it sort of just tidies it up a little bit, but it's not essential. And what you don't want is a straight edge. You don't want this to have a straight edge at all. You want it to have this wiggly curve shape. You can leave it like that, or you can, on the ribbons, add in some orbs. So these are rounder, they're like little pearls, and they are not tucked in, they're right next to each other. And this then will create another sort of impression. It looks like, I always think it looks like this is a big sort of chubby balloon, and it's been cinched in with some elastic bands. And I just love the way it goes 3D pretty quickly. So I am drawing on a grey tile. It's light grey. Sometimes on the screen it can look white. But the lovely thing about grey is you can use it as a white tile because it's quite a pale grey. I'm just using black ink on this. But because of the slight shade on it, when you get to do your shading with graphite, it works beautifully. But you also get a chance to add some white chalk, and that's what we will be doing today. And you can get a white chalk pencil or a pastel pencil at most art stores, craft stores, or Zentangle.com. There's loads of areas that you can get them from. And so there, look at that. Doesn't that look wonderful? With these little orbs. This now is a sort of go-to tangle for me when I just want to do something that's, well, I have several of those, mind you. You'll probably hear me saying that on every video. I have several go-tos, but this is because I know pretty quickly it can look gorgeous. So that is a Purk shape. Looking at my screen, it's taken me 9 minutes to draw that and talk to you. Now I've got my pencil and we're going to do some shading. So we want to accentuate these tucked in areas. So I'm going to pop some graphite just along those edges. Now you will see probably that you've got your string line showing through. Don't worry, we'll get rid of that. Okay. So I'm just going to pop some graphite here on these ones. Then we're going to soften it with our tortillon or paper stump, which is your twisted paper. Okay, so I'll pop this to the side. Getting your tortillon, wrong tortillon, this is the one. You can see the difference is that I've got a little bit of graphite on the end of this. And you're going to soften that, but not take that graphite all the way out. So you're going to soften it here soften it on this one. I'm just incorporating the string line. Don't worry, it will disappear. Soften this one. You can see I'm not taking the graphite all the way to the edge of that orb shape, those oval orbs, because we can accentuate that in a minute with our white chalk. Okay, so we also have these ones. You note down I didn't put any chalk or any graphite in these. I'm just going to do sort of like a little C curve, a little bit there, and I'm going to soften that around a little bit. I haven't taken it all the way to the edges. I want to get rid of the pencil, you know, the harsh pencil line. So we just very gently soften it so it becomes a little bit more of a blur and it creates a more 3D effect. So I'm going to happily add my graphite down those edges. Now I'm doing it where those orbs tuck underneath, because that will accentuate that overlap, the fact that it does tuck underneath, and that works because the dark, your eye perceives it as being deeper. So wherever you've got a tangle that tucks under another, or you've got a tangle drawing on top of it, pop a little bit of graphite there, because that will accentuate that layered look. Okay, so we'll do those. Now just very gently, trying not to get my graphite sort of bleeding or transferring into the next orb. Try and keep it away. It's not that vital, but it just gives us sort of a cleaner final image. Okay, and I'm hoping you'll be able to see already how this becomes a really lovely 3D image. And missed out that one. I know people sometimes on some videos I've sort of maybe missed something and come back to it at the end, and people say, oh gosh, you know, you missed something. Believe it or not, I'm human. I know that's difficult to believe. It is, isn't it? But we're all human. But with Zentangle, do you know, if you forget something, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. And we shouldn't get too worked up about it. If it all looks great, it doesn't matter. Okay, I'm going to pop that little curve in on this one. I'm not pressing too hard because the paper is quite soft. So I don't want to indent with the pencil. Just literally transferring graphite particles onto the surface, and then with the tortillon you can blend it in and really try and soften it so it stays dark where you first put it in, first laid down that graphite rather, and there we go. Look how lovely that looks, and that looks great as it is. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some white chalk. So you can see it's quite a short pencil now. I've got it nice and sharp. So I'm going to accentuate where I haven't got any graphite. So I'm going to pop it there, and it will be on the outside of most orbs. If you remember, I said I wasn't going to take it right to the edge. Okay. And I'm going to pop some white in here and here, and it's quite forgiving, the white chalk, because what you do is you, like with the graphite, you sort of, I like to use the term, you lay it down, you pop down some chalk, I suppose it's like powder really, and then just very, and this is even more gentle than the graphite, just blend it a little, not a huge amount, because you want the white to stay white. And I'm hoping you can see the difference already between these and the next ones down. So use the side of your chalk pencil as you do with your graphite. You don't want to use the tippy point, just the side. And there, look at that, doesn't that look great? It's fantastic, this, you know. I'm hoping, yeah, it's going to be less than half an hour. We will have a image, a nice soft image. Oops. So you probably saw my hand jump then. So this is the practicalities of teaching when you have a dog in the house. My dog just came in and nudged my hand, and I very carefully tried not to show you, but I'm being honest here and just saying that's what happened. She just wants to join you. And I do try to record when my doorbell's not going to ring, and or when my dog is asleep. But she obviously just woke up. So again, a bit of humanity from Joe and my videos. And yes, look at the difference between that and this now with the white chalk. Oh, it's lovely. It's just lovely. Absolutely. Okay. And I'm going to pop some, let me just put that like that. These final little bits. Now sometimes when you're putting down white chalk, you can find that some of your black ink lines might get a little bit faded as the chalk dust goes across. Do you know, it's absolutely fine to go back over with a black pen just to refine them. And I'm going to do that just now because when my dog came and she nudged me, the white chalk went everywhere. Well, sort of everywhere. And that's just here. So just going back with that 05, I'm just going to pop it here. There was a couple of places like here. You don't have to get too particular about it, but if you've used a lot of chalk, sometimes those lines just need freshening up a little, and you can just do that. So I've gone back in with my 05, so that is there. Okay, and the one other thing I'm going to do, I've got a jelly roll 10. I'm going to get the ink flowing, and on the white I'm literally just going to fill those final orbs, those little orbs, with some white ink, and that will really make it pop out. You don't have to use the white if you haven't got one, don't worry, because the orbs will still look amazing. I thought I'd show you just something a little different in today's video, and you can start to see how adding that chalk, the white jelly roll, does make a difference. So I'm just going to add those. Beware that the ink from the jelly roll is wetter. It takes a little longer to dry. Usually by the time you've sort of got to the bottom, the top bit should be dried out, but just be aware of it so that you don't pop your finger on it or your whatever and smudge it. But if you do, you can hide it with a bit of black ink. There's always a way. Okay, and that is your Purk. I am just going to sign my tile. Pop your initials or your chop. I'm putting my Z and my JO for Zenjo. Okay, and you can sign and date the back of your tile just so you know when you've created it. And now take it up to have a little look and go, wow, I've just created that and it looks pretty 3D. So appreciate what you create, and thank you for joining me. Bye.